Thank you, David, very much. And thank you all for being here. Yes, John Paul Mitchell Systems today is the world's largest salon hair care company that is privately owned. But it wasn't always that way, and it's a perfect way to introduce what we're all about and what everyone here is all about. And I think what we are all about is finding a way to make the able more able. Everyone in here, regardless of their challenge, is able. And we all have assistance that we need. For example, when I started John Paul Mitchell Systems in 1980, I needed $500,000. My partner, who was a hairdresser, I was a businessman, got together and said, we want to start this company. We have some new ideas in hair care products that are really good for people, but we need $500,000. By the way, $500,000 in 1980 is like, oh my God, about $1.25 million today, with inflation, all that in 44 years. But we needed to start it, and we had a backer. So I left everything I was doing. I left the newer car with my wife. We weren't getting along that well, and it was time for us to depart. I took the used car down the hill, left all the money we had, because $500,000 was coming in at Bank of America. We're all excited there. My partner was a little bit older than I was at the time, and he was on his way over from Hawaii, where he lived, because he wanted a little bit of the money too, for his existence and to build this company together. The money never showed up. Went down the hill, went to the bank, zero, nothing. Oh my gosh, where's it at? Didn't know. We didn't have cell phones like you have today. We didn't have that at all. But a friend of mine found me at a place called El Torito, where they had 99-cent margaritas and all kinds of appetizers you may want. Well, after 20 chicken wings, you're full. We found that out. By the way, that 99-cent margarita was not my Patron. It was something very inexpensive. But anyways, a friend of mine found me there and said, JP, Richard Holthaus has been trying to get a hold of you. The man changed his mind at the last minute. I left my house. I had very few bucks in my pocket. I had the older used car down the hill. And there we are, zero money. What in the world do you do? First of all, why did he pull out? What were the circumstances? Quite interesting when people look at the world today and look at it then. In 1980, inflation, what it cost to buy something every year, right? Inflation in 1980 and 81 was about 12% in the United States. Unemployment was 10.5%. Interest rates, if you could get a loan in 1980 and 81, and if you're old enough to even remember 1980 or 81 like I am, okay? Minimum interest rates, the best rate you could ever get was 17% interest, period, up, or you could even get a loan. And we had to stand in line to wait for gasoline. They were going around the block and everything else. Our hostages were still in Iran. He said, it's a terrible time. It's the worst time in the world we can invest in a new company, and it's cosmetics. It's just two guys. Chances are you guys aren't going to really be successful, was his thought. You know, it's just too big of a gamble. So there we are with absolutely nothing. No money, no nothing. I quit everything I did. My partner had flown over from Hawaii with his girlfriend, all ready to help out, go call on salons to show them how to use our products. Anyways, what are we going to do? So we figured it out. It was impossible in 1980 to start a hair care company with no money. Impossible. $700? How in the world are you guys going to do it? But we figured out a way to do it. I figured out how to get 30-day credit, how to call on someone and give them an extra 5% discount to pay their bill immediately, how to go out there and not give up no matter what anybody says, because we have so many challenges in life, so many challenges, and many times we'll just give up. But we see so many people that are special assistants. We all need some assistance, okay? They'd say, I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna take that first step. I'm gonna keep trying. I'm gonna be happy every day. And don't give up. Excuse me. I lived in my car for a few weeks when I started John Paul Mitchell Systems, and I found out how to live off $2.50 a day. It was 99 cents at the Freeway Cafe on Ventura Boulevard, that between 9 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock in the morning, they wanted to get more truckers in because nobody went there. So they had a 99-cent special. You got one egg, your choice, one piece of bacon or one sausage, and one piece of bread, and either an orange juice or coffee. So I thought, well, I'll go for the egg, I'll go for the sausage because it was bigger, I'll go for the whole bread and eat every bit of it, okay? And I'll take the orange juice. That was the start of my day. To end the day, to be able to eat, you got to become innovative. They started for 99 cents at El Torito, that happy hour. And boy, I'll tell you, we fully took advantage of it. After about 2 weeks, they caught on, and waitress came over and said, you know, the manager wanted me to ask you, you're the nicest guy, and you always leave us a quarter tip, but you only order one margarita. Sometimes your son comes in with you, your little boy comes in with you. He says, and you eat everything in sight. Are you down and out right now? So I told him the story. Pretty soon an enchilada appeared every now and then, a burrito. It's amazing when people know what's going on. Everybody kind of wants to pitch in. I think maybe lend a helping hand. Well, that carried forward in building a business. People say, when did you know John Paul Mitchell Systems would make it? When did you know? When did you know you'd be successful? I remember the day clear as can be. 2 years after we started the business, we were able to pay our bills on time. Not pay them off, but pay them on time. 2 years after we started, and we had $2,000 each left over. And we said, oh my God, we've made it, we've made it. Then we knew we were successful. We weren't very big at that time, but all of our bills were paid on time. And from there, it just shot up to the moon. But that feeling we had about knowing what it's like to have challenges in life, knowing what it is to maybe live someplace where it's just a car, knowing what it is to have so much pride, you won't tell anybody about it. My mom lived in Los Angeles. My room was still empty. I could have said, Mom, I'm down and out. Feed me, which she would have loved to do. My mom was very, very giving. Take my old room back. Use my car, son. It's okay, whatever you want. I was too stupid, too proud to let my mom know the truth. So I suffered through it a little bit. However, I learned a lot. Many things the good Lord puts on this planet, lessons for us to learn. And we wonder at times, why am I going through such a challenge in life? What did I do wrong? I'm a good person. What's wrong here? But later on in life, something happens that tells you why you went through all those hard times. When it comes to philanthropy, we had no money growing up. I had a deadbeat dad. He disappeared before I was 2 years old. So one Christmas, I was 6 years old, and we went to downtown Los Angeles. We lived in LA, the Echo Park area. And we went to downtown LA, and there were all these big stores, the May Company, Saks Fifth Avenue, the Bullocks, all these big stores. And they had in the windows all these Christmas things. Puppets going on, little acts going on, outside little trains going around in circles, really cool. We thought we were the luckiest kids in the world. It cost nothing, but we were there for a couple of hours seeing all these wonderful Christmas things, ride the little train, get a free little candy cane. It was wonderful. My mom gave my brother and I a dime, a little dime, and said, boys, hold that between your fingers and go put it in the bucket with the man that is ringing a bell. He has a red button. Put it in there, boys. And we had very little in our lives. So a dime was something. We took it together, our little fingers, and we put it in there. And then we said to Mom, why are we giving this guy a dime? In those days, that was 1951, by the way. No, actually 1950 when I was 6 years old. In those days, a soda pop was 5 cents. You get 3 candy bars for a dime. We said, Mom, why? She said, boys, that's the Salvation Army. There's a lot of people that don't have any house, any food, no place to go, and they help them out. Please remember in life that someone, no matter who you are or what we're doing, is better off than we are or you will ever be. Always do something to lend a helping hand. So that stayed with me. We got into the hairdressing industry, and as soon as we were able to afford it, I remembered all the hard times I went through. One of them was, how about when you don't have any money for lunch? Or how about if you have $1 for lunch? You can't get very much. So first thing I wanted to do was take care of our own people. And as soon as we could afford it, it was about 3 years old that we were before we could afford it. Everybody had free lunch at Paul Mitchell. And you could order off the menu. Everybody got free lunch. So I knew for sure everybody was able to have a good meal during the day. And let's go to philanthropy. And I want to tie in now the professional beauty industry and this salon and what we teach. Our Paul Mitchell schools, our cosmetology hairdressing schools, are not normal schools. In hairdressing schools, they do teach you how to do hair, how to do a permanent wave, how to do various aspects of the professional beauty industry, and get your license and go to work. Well, we thought the industry needed a little bit more. What it needed was a full training program to teach good professionals how to be not only a good professional, but along the way, how to be a good person. All of our Paul Mitchell schools, and there's one great one right here in San Antonio, all of our Paul Mitchell schools take part of their time, and our students take part of their time, and do a fundraiser every year. We pay for it. We at the company pay every penny it takes to put the fundraiser on. Every dime they raise goes to a charity of some sort in their local community, part of it to our nation, and part of it to the world. They learn how to give back. How do they do this? Some are cut-a-thons, some are car washes. It's amazing what they do. In fact, in Orlando, Florida, I think it was about 10 years ago, they had an ingenious idea. We really want to raise a lot of money to help so many people out. And we taught people how to feel good by doing something for somebody else and asking nothing in return. They were very innovative. So they got all the young kids out there, all the kids were all ready, they had big signs right on the street there on the sidewalk that said, topless car wash with an arrow. Well, everybody had to see what this was all about. They pull on in there, right? And immediately when they pull in, I think it was $5 for the car wash, the kids just jump on it immediately, the adults that went to school there, all of our students jumped on it immediately and washed the bottom of the car. And then people said, well, how about the top? It's a topless car wash. That's another $5. And by the way, it all goes to a very, very good cause. Well, because of that, they were able to learn, and still do while they're in school, how important it is to give back. And how in life, when you do something for somebody else and ask nothing in return, you get the greatest high you'll ever get in your life. You feel the highest high, and you're actually doing something that is a purpose here on this planet. We're all here for some kind of a purpose. We're all here to learn. So along the way, we found some interesting things. I was telling Gordon about one of them this morning. We got involved with a bunch of surfers that also wanted to give back. And in Malibu, California, who started an organization, we really threw in whatever it took. We were there, we gave money, whatever it took to do it, called Walk on Water. Walk on Water is for anyone with challenges, whether autistic, whether it's MS, no matter what it might be. We take you surfing. We put you on a surfboard with the most professional surfer in the world. We don't care what your challenge is. Put you on a surfboard. We'll get you out there. You have a life jacket on, you've got people on each side of you. If you fell in the water, you're not going to be in for more than 2 seconds. Someone's right next to you to grab you out. Best surfers in the world. We take you out and put you on a surfboard. And then we bring you in, take you out, bring you in. It's amazing what that has done to change people's lives. Yeah. I've seen conditions where people are really, really tight and go out there and can barely move around. And when they come in, they're fully relaxed. Why? Because they thought maybe there would be something here that would make me happy. And happiness and love are the strongest things we will ever experience in the world. And we have so much that we run into. At our school, by the way, they'll get to know him, because John Turnage and his wife and family that have the school are partners and some of the most wonderful folks. And there's no doubt in my mind that some of our Phase 2 students and others are connected with the school will come on by to perhaps give some lessons on how to do hair with people that are maybe a bit jittery or a bit enthusiastic and don't want to sit still. How do you accomplish this? In fact, we look at accomplishing everything. For example, one of these two lovely ladies in front of me may wanted to become a hairdresser, let's say. Well, what do you do? Are we equipped for it? A young lady who was paralyzed from the waist down went to our Provo, Utah school about 10 years ago. I want to be a hairdresser. We now have chairs set up that actually come off the main chair, go up and around where she can get off the wheelchair and sit in it and just kind of scoot around like that and work on hair. And she's one of the most requested people that ever was out there in our Phase 2 program. Unbelievable, and went on to be very successful at the industry. In other words, people are able. Everyone's able at something. We just want to make the able even more able in everything we do. And why is a salon so important? Why are salons so important? You could stand outside almost any salon in the nation. You could sit there and just watch people coming in. And they kind of have an expression on their face like this, or go to an appointment, but look at them when they walk out. Their heads are a little higher, there's a little smile on their head and on their face, and they just want to look good. My wife is Eloise. If you saw any Paul commercials for the last, 30 years, that's Eloise, okay? Very beautiful, beautiful lady, probably the most beautiful women in the world. Eloise, when anyone asks her, my God, what do you attribute you have the most incredible genes? Eloise is 66 years old and still looks like she's in her 30s. Unbelievably cool lady. She always answers with the same question. It starts at the hair. Do you like the hair? First thing people say is the hair, and then everything else comes with it. And if you look at people who became famous for their hair, famous people in gymnastics that had a certain hair cut and a look that everybody wanted. People like a Farrah Fawcett that wanted that Farrah Fawcett hair look. It starts with the hair. That's where people look. And of course, no matter where you are in life, if you look better and you think you look better, you certainly feel better. With all the challenges in life that are going on, it's a pleasure, a privilege for people like myself and others to be involved to make our city, our state, our community, and this planet a much better place to live. What can you do in opposition to physical challenges? Well, let me give you an example of Maria. Maria lives in Mozambique. We expand our charities worldwide, by the way. It is in Mozambique, and I went there once. I was going to go with Nelson Mandela, but he couldn't make that trip. He, Brad Pitt, and I were part of Mindseeker, a solution that we put together to get rid of minefields in the field, especially in Mozambique, that were still there. Well, I went up there once. He couldn't make us. I went with a couple pals at the Rotary Club. And then I met Maria. Both her legs were blown off, totally blown off, almost to the hip, blown off, right? Because of the landmines that these tribes use against one another. But Maria had such a smile on her face and loved to do hair, just loved to do hair. So they would scoot her on a box. She would sit there and someone would come to her and she would do cornrowing. She just loved to do hair. But she knew that she one day would be a hairdresser that could get around a lot easier than she was. This is Mozambique now. So even if you had a wheelchair, unless you're in the main cities, it's very difficult to go on little dirt roads. Very, very challenging. So Maria was one of them. Maria, we fitted her, we took the cast and fitted her for a couple of legs. Now again, Maria's legs were cut off to here. We fitted her first with little stubs and to attach here to the rest of her body. And an interesting thing happened. She was there when we finally attached the first two stubs to learn her, teach her how to do it. And at 10 o'clock at night, she got in trouble. She's supposed to be in bed by 8. She just couldn't help it. She got up on her stubs and walked up and down the halls like that. She was so happy and so excited. She could walk. Maria could walk. Finally, she graduated to her full legs, and Maria could walk around. She saw that challenge and figured different ways around it so that in her own community she could do that. And it was just amazing, the end result of what people could do if they really want to do it and don't let, shall we say, challenges get in the way. But we all have challenges in our life, but we gotta leave them behind us. In my life, I've been very privileged to be around a lot of very decent people. Gordon's one great example, very giving man, and just really there for everybody. But we all have great stories to tell. One I want to tell you is one that was told to me by a wonderful, wonderful dear man. He was an Academy Award-winning actor named James Colburn. James died about 8 or 9 years ago, but he was an Oscar winner, just a really great fellow. We were sitting one day and we were talking about challenges with different people. He said, JP, if you ever get to run a group that has challenges or things that have happened in their past, please tell them the story. I said, James, I certainly will. And he told me the story of 2 Tibetan monks, a young monk and an older monk. And they were going on a pilgrimage up in Nepal to a monastery. It was a 2-day pilgrimage. So they took off the first day, the younger monk and the older monk, and they ran across a river. The river was maybe 100 feet wide, maybe a foot or 2 deep, but it was going swiftly. And they noticed off to the right, there was a young lady sticking her foot in the water and then pulling it out again. She was afraid. It was too swift for her. So the older monk went over, picked her up, held her to his bosom, and walked on over and put her on the other side. So they're on their journey all day long, and that night they camp out. They camp out that night to be able to have a meal, lit their little fire. During the meal, the young monk said to the more senior monk, or however they say to each other, whatever they call each other those days. Anyway, senior monk is called for now. I have been carrying something with me all day long on my shoulders, on my mind. I have to ask you. We take vows. Vows, Buddhist vows, never to touch a woman. You went over, picked up a young lady, held her to your chest, walked her across, and you put her on the other side. Why did you do that? The older, wiser monk looked at the younger monk and said, wow, you've been carrying her around all day long. I left her at the river this morning. Leave it at the river. You can't do anything about it. You cannot change yesterday's newspapers. Leave it at the river. And look at where we are today and where we are going. We are in a great nation. No matter what the news tells you, no matter what the Republican says about the Democrat, or the Democrat says about the Republican, they're politicians. Don't pay that much attention to anything that is negative. Do not. Look at the positive things. People watch the negative things, they get into it, they go along with some of the untrue stories maybe politicians tell us, and it's amazing. Then we worry, oh my God, are we going to World War? Are we going to be bombed? There'll be no money, no social security, all these worries we have. All these worries. And we look at things like, wouldn't it be better if everything was done for me? Could everything be done for me? Like a lot of these people, no disrespect to the extreme left, want the government to do everything for them, right? Opposed to doing something on their own. Well, we all know, and there's a great example around us. No, I want to get around. Give me that wheelchair. Are you kidding? You're not going to carry me. I'm going to zoom myself around. Give me whatever it takes. I want to contribute more to myself. That's what America is. In the beginning, God created the planet Earth. In the beginning. And when he created the planet Earth, he created a species called the oyster. He said, oyster, I'm going to give you the perfect social, economic environment to live in. I'm going to put you in a hard shell to live in. That's your clothes and that's your house. And I'm going to put you in the bottom of the ocean to protect you from your enemies. You've got protection. You want to eat? Just open your mouth and food rushes in, and close it when you're full. You don't have to do anything. You have free food, free clothing, free shelter, free protection. I've taken care of you. Then God went ahead and created another species. And that species he created was the eagle. He said, eagle, you're a whole different species. And I love ending my presentations with this story. He says, eagle, you are going to go build your own house. Go find it. God, where do I build it at? I don't know, top of a mountain, top of a tree, you figure it out. Also, the eagle has to fly through miles, many times, of sleet, snow, rain, wind, terrible conditions, to find the food to feed its young. The eagle, which a lot of people are not aware of, fails 70% of the time. It goes down upon the prey, and they're mostly wild prey, obviously. They're so quick they get away. But he keeps on trying and trying and trying until the eagle gets it. And the eagle gets it every time, eventually, knowing how many failures there'll be the next day, the next day. The eagle raises its young to do the same. The eagle, unlike the oyster, can go anywhere it wants in this world. The eagle, not the oyster, is the emblem of America. In other words, there's so much more ahead of us, so much more to see, so much more to do, so much more beauty to look forward to, so much more happiness in a salon. And you'll find that also because a lot of our Paul Mitchell people will be coming here. They are happy people, and they like to smile and be happy with people. So a lot of them will be coming here, a lot of them will be contributing and volunteering. And those are wonderful people that have been through programs that are giving back, wanting nothing in return, giving their time away from their classrooms to help one another out. And that's who you'll be around when you're here. I want to thank everyone for giving me the opportunity to have you all here, and Gordon to have the opportunity, and I thank him so much for letting me come here and speak to you. And you'll be seeing more of me, and you'll certainly be seeing more of Paul Mitchell Salon Hair Care products and other things. So to all of you, a bunch of love and peace, love, and happiness, and that's the strongest thing on the planet. Thank you very much for everyone at John Paul Mitchell School.